my experience with New Beginnings started. Um, I was in jail and I was trying to find a Christian-based program, and I was told about New Beginnings. Um, I experienced one in Allentown, and there's a lot of real inconsistencies, so I left that one. So, like I said, I was in jail, and I went back to jail. So I was in, went to one, left it because of the chaos and constant inconsistency. It wasn't ran as a program should have been ran, and breaking a rule for this one, breaking a rule for that one, or this one has to apply, this one doesn't apply, and running a program on feelings rather than structure was not for me. So I left that one. But then I relapsed. I went back to jail, and then I found out about the New Beginnings in Philadelphia. So after, but I was told it was a lot different in Philadelphia, and you work for the church, and they do a lot of things to help you get on your feet. So I kind of went into it blind, not knowing, but I was told the house was also different. So in that saying, I was kind of excited thinking that I was going to work for a church, and I thought that I would be involved with the church, not used for the church. And so when I got to Philadelphia, I was really blind to everything, and you sign all the paperwork, you sign all the rules, and they say, okay, you start work tomorrow. You can get out there tomorrow. So I was excited thinking I'm going to do something for God and something for this program and something for this church, and maybe there's something for me here. And that's why I was in Philadelphia. So I was like taking steps in faith and hoping that it was with him and this program. So when the next day came, I didn't realize that you're in 90-degree weather with no water, few breaks. You're allowed 1/2 hour break, but if there's no bathrooms, because you stand in intersections with bottles. They're like big empty pretzel container bottles, and they put a piece of paper and it says New Life Ministries. So I don't know how all that really entangles New Life Ministries. The church is called African Zor something, and then New Beginnings. So I don't know. I didn't know about any of that. I just thought it was strange that it was all these different names and different things. But if we're for New Beginnings Shelter, why are we, what's New Life Ministries? So I don't know. Just a lot of things didn't make sense to me. So I was just trying to go with it, see how it goes. And the one girl said, you're not allowed, they have your jars taped really tight so you can't go in them to get money. And but I wasn't told that you should be prepared to at least try to find a water bottle, which I'll get into further at another point during this story. So I didn't have anything, and when you're out in 90-degree weather, you're always told to be hydrated and to constantly drink water. So I thought, well, what am I going to drink? I don't have any money. I don't have anything. And all they say to you basically is, well, you should have been prepared. They should have told you this at the house. The manager should have told you what you needed to do. They say, well, did you pack a lunch? No, I didn't know I was supposed to do any of that. Nobody told me anything. So she said, oh, well, they should have told you that. Nobody sits you down to tell you any of what you need to be prepared for, what you need, and whatever. And then it becomes like they tell you that, well, there's a couple guy houses, and then the one for women and children, that you, the object of the game, they don't say game, but to me it felt like one, because, it was to fill this jar. And there's a few dollars, when you get the jar, there's a few dollars in it, and they call it the seed money. So I still, till now, don't understand what the seed money meant. But to me, I thought it was displayed to show that other people were, making donations, so let's make a donation. So when all that was going on, then I was told that we have to pay $100 rent, and so you need to stand on the street. And basically what I would say, like, I was just kind of winging it. They don't even tell you how or what's proper to say, what's not proper to say, or what to say. They just say go. So, and so I was just, I'm a really friendly people person, so I thought, well, I could do this. This isn't too bad, but as the day's going on, you get thirsty. You're sweating profusely. There's no bathroom in sight. So, and when you did need to use one, you had to walk distance to get to one. And then, at one point in the day, real quickly, the assistant manager, I said, well, I'm thirsty. Like, what do you do? Like, can't we get in touch with the bishop or his wife and have them bring us some water or anything to drink? She said, well, listen, no, they should have told you all that. Like I told you, she said, but if you want to dip in your jar, you can pull something out. And this is the assistant manager of the program. Her name was Donna. And she said, I won't tell anybody. Well, wait a minute. Now, we're supposed to be there for the church. You're supposed to be on a certain, level or whatever, because there's an assistant manager and a manager. Why would you tell me that I would need to sneak money out of the jar? To me, that kind of, like, I didn't really question it, but now, like, looking back on it, like, you have to steal money to get something to drink. Like that, it just didn't make sense. So, but now, back to going out into the street to get money with the jar. They tell you don't hang the jar like this by the lid, because if the tape would come off, you would drop the money in the street. You're in busy intersections in Philadelphia. That's a little crazy in certain intersections. So, I just kind of was listening to her, and so I would say, hi, would you like to help us with donations for our women and children's shelter? Because I didn't want people to know that I'm begging or collecting money for a shelter that I'm in. I wanted to be, and I thought I was to be, okay, it's it's a house, but it doesn't look like a shelter. But I don't want, not everything is for everybody. And I don't want people thinking I'm some bum on the street collecting for a church, for a shelter that I live in. And that, and you see that in everyday life, people panhandling and collecting money, and then as the day's going on, my jar was getting fuller and fuller and fuller and fuller and fuller. I would simply say, hi, would you like to donate for a shelter? And if they didn't have cash, I would say, well, even change would help. You never know. It all adds up. So I'm feeling like, okay, I really need to get this money in the jar. And they said, and if they would only give me, like, hypothetically, a couple of pennies or whatever they had in their door, because usually everybody's got change in their car if you own a car. And I said, you never know. It all adds up. You might be buying a pair of booties for a baby. Well, that's kind of like, you don't even know if that's happening. And I'll tell you, it's not. So as I further down tell you more. So now when you're out, this was my first day out there. No water, no lunch, no bathroom, being told to steal from a jar if I need to steal from a jar if you're thirsty. Well, why isn't the bishop or his wife providing water? A case of water is $3. A bag of ice is $2. You would think that if you're out there for 11-hour days in 90-degree weather, $5 to give back to somebody who's out there for you, I don't think is a lot of money. So, that was my first experience, my first day.
Can I interject here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. First of all, were you actually in the street or were you on the sidewalk?
No, we're in the street.
So
where we stand on the corner, and when a red light comes, we go into the street. And the object, like, you got to figure out a system for yourself. So, like, if you just go into the intercept, Philly lights are fast. So, and like I said, the object is to fill this jar. So, and or you'll hear the wrath from the bishop's wife. From what I was also told, like, try to do your best because they'll let you know if you're not producing. So, and you don't know how many seed money singles was in the jar before they gave it to you.
Were they clear plastic jars that the public could see?
Yes, they're clear plastic jars with a white piece of paper on it that says New Life Ministries.
Now, if I drove up to you, I'm in the intersection, I drove up, you came up to me, and I said, well, I'd like to do a donation, but I want to do a sizable one. Was there any kind of literature that you handed out
I didn't have or was not aware of any literature until later in the week, because I only was there for 1 week. And I seen the men have like a little cardboard thing with the bishop's picture and number on the back. And then I don't quite really remember what was on the front, because it wasn't, I didn't think it wasn't relevant, I guess. It was just more to me for a show that you are for the church and this is what that card is. You know, it looked like a postcard.
Okay, and then the other question I have is, if from your first day's experience you refuse to go back and do something so unsafe and such a bad thing for your health,
right?
What do you believe would have happened to you if you were to refuse that?
I don't know at the time because it was my first day.
Okay,
so when I was being compliant, I was open-minded. I thought I was in a program. I was just figuring out, but I thought, like I said, the first trigger, the first thing that to me was strange was the assistant manager saying, well, we should have told you about that, or the manager. Well, somebody, point blank, somebody in that house should have, you know, or gave you a heads up. You're going to need water. You might want a sandwich for later, you know, whatever. But you're not told anything. So
in actuality, you felt very unsafe in what you were doing?
Not quite yet. I was just like, well, what's going on? So as the week progressed, which when you hear the rest of the story, this is when, and at the end, I said, I'm done. I'm leaving. I can't even get a bottle of water.
Early on in the program, we'll say quote unquote program, when you left jail, you expected a structured program, am I correct?
Yeah, I expected something that...
What would you think?
I was excited. Well, the only thing that I knew is that you work for the church, and I developed a relationship with God, so I wanted something God-based with a good structural background to teach you new way of life.
Okay.
So, because to me, believing right is living right. It's changing your mind, changing a new path, a new way of life. So you want something that's going to take you in that direction. And for me, having an extensive history and finally making a decision that I think is a good one ends up being the worst decision I've ever made in my life.
Okay.
So in the end, but now after the first day, it was only one day, and then we were graced on Sunday because we have church. So you actually only have off one day a week. So, you work full 11-hour shifts Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Now, it is a requirement to be in the program that you connect with. It's a program called New Stop. Awesome outpatient group. This facility should be everywhere. I have never experienced a facility like that, and I only was there 3 days. And like, if you're feeling the recovery atmosphere, a lot of spirituality from different walks of life, and the people in the program, needless to say, that's not nor here or there what we're here to talk about. But we would go to that from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, from like 8:30 to noon. Then you would come home. By the time you get to the house, you have to change quickly because you try to be presentable. But when you're going into the street, you want to be prepared for 90-degree weather. So I'm starting to pick up a little of something, and that's all I got so far. So, but then, so you change, and the buses, they have these big, it looks like those elderly buses that pick up, like van that pick up, like patients to take them to appointment type. And they have 3 of them. And it says, hope for the homeless, and hope for this, and all this stuff. And in this big advertising, I feel like it's an advertisement. And they sit it right on the corner of where you are so that people see the bus, you know. And then, so then you work till 8 p.m. every night. So your day starts in the program. You never see anybody read the Bible. Never. And the only time there's a morning devotion, and it's maybe 20 minutes to a half an hour maybe, tops, because we have to go. And all you do is there's 30 proverbs, 1 for each day of the month, and that's how they do it. They don't even do, and well, they open with a small prayer, whoever, and each girl, they say, pick up. Somebody pick up. So you'll do a couple of verses, and then she'll explain what she felt they meant, and then she'll go, okay, pick up. So that means somebody else, pick up. But that's the only time that I've seen anybody in that program pick up a Bible. But then, therefore, like, you're out there 11-hour days, sometimes, you know, like I said, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, half of that, by the time you get in, you're so sunburned, you're in so much, your feet are killing you. The only thing you want to do is and so sweaty. The only thing you want to do is sit down, take a shower, whatever, and lay in bed because the next day's about to begin. So, here's where I start seeing things. Like, to me, when you have all different walks of life with different mental health illnesses, or some Christian-based programs don't believe in medication, but they were open-minded about that. So I was okay with that because I have bipolar and post-traumatic stress disorder. And and when you get out of prison, they only give you 3 days worth of medication. So I took Paxil, Neurontin, and Seroquel. And only enough Seroquel is to just help me relax to when I lay down because I have problems sleeping. Well, when your 3 days is up, there is no more medication. There is no doctor's appointment. There is no going to welfare. Oh, we've got time for that. We need to get out there and get to work. Was type stuff that was said to you. To me, if you want somebody healthy to be a part of your church and a part of your program, to me, I think a first priority would be welfare to get your medical. If you have a child, WIC to get formula, and mental health issues to get medication. You don't want chaos and chaotic things happening, insanity, because people are coming off medication that work for them. In my case, you know, but so you have a girl coming off Suboxones. For 4 years she was on Suboxones. She went to detox for 5 days. She came back, and they still insisted. And then she had no mental health medication either. And she has a more severe mental health issues. And so she was detoxing off Suboxone, and I'm told that's worse than kicking from heroin. And they didn't care. They wanted her on the street. And, oh well. So, get over it. And I call my flip-flop girl, because in my addiction, I wore flip-flops, and you can only wear flip-flops so long, non-stop. And she had chunks of her feet on her heels, and she's begging for a pair of sneakers so that she could do better because she has 2 children. Aurora, I think, is 4, and Sophia, who is 8 months old. and she's from Baltimore and has nowhere to go, nowhere to be, knows nothing about Philadelphia, and feeling stuck in a position. What is she going to do? She's hopeless. She's homeless. She has nothing. So, and even like we heard